his mom and her 8-year-old brother at the home of DiMaggio, which they say he'd set on fire. I'm Harris Faulkner. Now let's get you right away back to Huckabee.
I am the shooter. That's what Fort Hood killer Nidal Hasan said during the opening statements of his military court-martial this week. The former U.S. Army psychiatrist is accused of murdering 13 fellow soldiers and wounding dozens more on November 5th of 2009.
They were bloody. There was blood everywhere.
It was very distraught, panic everywhere.
That tragedy, the worst shooting at a U.S. military base in American history, came just days before Hasan was to be deployed to Afghanistan. Military prosecutors say the 42-year-old did not want to be sent to fight against other Muslims, and that he had a jihad duty to kill as many soldiers as possible. Investigations following the Fort Hood rampage uncovered an email exchange between Hasan with Anwar al-Awlaki, the radical U.S.-born Islamic cleric and leader in al-Qaeda's Yemen branch, killed by a U.S. drone attack in 2011. Army officials have charged Hasan with 13 counts of premeditated murder and 32 counts of attempted premeditated murder. But some say that's not enough.
Where's the terrorist charge?
Hasan is representing himself during the proceedings. The military judge for the court-martial has rejected Hasan's offer to plead guilty. Hasan admits he's behind the attack, but military law prevents him from pleading guilty since he faces a death sentence. While protecting Hasan, the military is actively punishing soldiers for having Bibles, having Christian material in their possession, even having chaplains pray in Jesus' name. Joining me now is the author of a wonderful book called Hope Unseen. Major Scotty Smiley, who was blinded by a suicide bomber in Iraq in 2005, is the first Army active duty officer to serve who is blind. Scotty, it's a real honor and a pleasure to have you here.
Great.
Thank you for your heroic service to this country.
Of course, no, it's my pleasure.
Recently, soldiers who are homosexual were given the right to wear their uniforms and march in gay pride parades. Mm-hmm. You often go to churches and give your Christian testimony.
Yes.
You're told you cannot wear your uniform in a church.
Yeah.
Does that seem like a double standard?
It's hard. Everyone in the military was given a piece of paper to read and then sign saying that they've read it, that you cannot wear your military uniform in church when you're speaking in church or at political events. And I totally understand it. As a law-abiding citizen, obey all rules and regulations. And it's hard to see incidences in which you just described occur right after an order like that is given. And it makes it difficult for Christians to stand up for their faith and practice the beliefs in which they believe in, though there's restrictions that begin to shut those down.
Do you feel that it's more difficult now to openly be a Christian in the military than it was when you first went into the military?
I do. I definitely agree with that. The rules and regulations, policies and procedures which we in the military abide by, which fall under the law of the land, have been becoming more restrictive. At the beginning, it's perfectly fine for pastors or chaplains in the military to say in Jesus Christ's name, to as a Christian, I personally believe that Jesus Christ gave his only begotten Son, and if we believe in him, we will live forever. But to say that, they no longer can, and as a result,
even the chaplains,
in prayers, in churches they can, but every time we have an event, breakfast, prayer breakfast, meals, balls, you'll have a chaplain that starts the event with a prayer and then ends it, and it can never be in Jesus' name. And I think more importantly, there's been generals over the time that I've been in the military who've been reprimanded and negatively counseled because of their speaking out with their Christian faith. And when I, as a soldier, hear about that, I feel it's not just demeaning, but it goes down the line of persecuting, because now I, as a Christian, a man who believes in God, who trusts in God, and fights for my country, believes that my religious faith is beginning to be torn away from me. And that's what really makes it hard.
And Scotty, in the trial this week, we've seen Nidal Hasan, who has openly declared himself renouncing his citizenship, renouncing the military. We paid his salary.
Yeah.
We accommodate him. We let him grow his beard. That is a religious expression. How does that make you feel that a murderer is allowed to express his religious viewpoint, and you are not.
It's hard. The whole case is very difficult, and the military, I believe, has done a wonderful job. They have a whole board that is overseeing that entire case. But when the truth comes to it, they have to follow Army policy. And when someone is able to grow a beard, or Jewish individuals can wear a head dressing for their religious belief, the military allows it. But when individuals that want to have a Bible on their desk because that is their religious belief are told to take it off, that's where the double standard becomes in play. For me, I believe that, you know, to serve an army who doesn't necessarily support a Christian, it makes it difficult to serve. While at the same time, I personally know that Christians fight for this country, as I believe this country was started by Christians for Christians, and it's kind of a very difficult problem in which we're facing nowadays.
Scotty, I appreciate your service to this country and the wounds you've borne for it, and thank you also for very candidly sharing. Well, does the government's response to a terror threat by shutting down embassies in the Mideast make us look weak? And how can we detect the new weapons that are being used by terrorists? Former CIA counterterrorism expert Gary Bernstein joined